Anthony Darby. I am joined today with Manny from GTI. Manny, how are you, brother?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me here.
Manny's a recognizable face, as we were just kind of recounting. Last year on 420, we did a virtual vendor day with you and
The whole team, like the sales team,
Jeff
like
Mangold,
Jeff Mangold, Hillary, Crystal.
Hillary, and that was super fun. That was one of our very first COVID virtual changes in audibles, and now we've gotten pretty good at that over the year. It's kind of cool. Like when I think of some of the content that we put out, one of the very first interview long form pieces of content that we ever put out was me interviewing Manny on if it wasn't 420, it was like it was
Close
a GTI specific event that was like a kind of a 4-hour event.
Yeah.
And we broke and we sat down at a conference table, which turned into our online ordering service. You know, that Soho Road with a cluster. Yeah. But I remember sitting down and learning about your story, learning about how you met Mike, how you got into GTI, and that just seems like light years ago.
Yeah, it's like monumental. Like every day in the cannabis industry is very monumental, and it just flies by crazy. I mean, I think the last time, dude, like COVID hit in 2020 last year, and like all I could think about the phrase for that year is very fluid. We had to pivot. Like you just use audible. I mean, there was a lot of audibles, and another one is like your mic is on mute. It's like so many conferences of like, it was like, hey man, your mic is on mute. But you know, I mean, COVID definitely was a highlight, I guess, but not really. But it was just like a good. I don't know what. Like it's just like I don't know.
You spent. From what I know, I mean, a lot of your time pre-COVID was spent in person at dispensaries and really doing a lot of travel and being that face. And then all of a sudden, like, dispensaries aren't letting anybody in, and they're definitely not doing pop-ups. So it had to be a big change for you in your day-to-day, right?
Yeah, I mean, especially me. You know how, like, hands-on I was. I like to go to accounts and just kind of, like, see what's going on, interact with the patient, interact with the bud tenders. I definitely missed that, but you know, I talked to Brandon and like kind of created a virtual vendor day, and thank you again for, you know, making us be a part of that. And you know, we executed that pretty well. We still figured out a way to get in front of the patients and kind of engage. And
you
know,
did the same thing for our 12 days of vendors this year, right? We didn't do like the vendor thing, but you did a virtual.
We did a virtual kind of like we did like a swag giveaway with the promotion. So we still found ways to like engage with the patients, but in a just a different way. But you know, I do miss going out, but now there's vaccines and stuff out, so it's a matter of time. I'm gonna be.
Have you had any yet?
I'm going to get mine, first one tomorrow, actually.
So I had my first one So the 15th is when I qualify for my 28 days after my first one to get my second one.
Yeah.
A little nervous about the second shot. I'm trying to plan to make sure that I have a little lead time in front of my next day.
Yeah.
I feel absolutely blessed and thankful to have an opportunity to get the vaccine, so I'm not complaining. But it does, a lot of the feedback that I've gotten from some of the health professionals and folks that I know have gotten it early is the second shot can be a little bit of a doozy for the Moderna.
That's what I heard too. Like, that's a good point. I'm going to plan out the same way. It's like, you know, maybe not schedule too many meetings the following day.
Someone was like, so what, you're down for 2 days? I'm like, bro, you don't understand. Like, not to sound like douchey, but my day in 48 hours, there's a lot of shit that happens. And if I'm not present for it, there's going to be issues. Yeah, this isn't something where I'm just like, oh, they won't need me. Like, I wish.
You got to plan that out.
I got to plan that out. So, but I'm thankful. And I guess just to highlight that for one quick second, I was really thankful that Maryland Department of Health came out and issued some guidance letting everyone know that cannabis employees are essential and are deserving as all other healthcare workers. Yeah, unfortunately, the outroll of that was differently county by county. We had feedback in Frederick County and Baltimore County that patients were being denied getting their vaccine. They were actually told that wasn't the case. But I always go back to good old Wycomico County where we're at. Got an actual specialized email from our director of Department of Health, who's always looking out for our team to make sure that we were good to go. And so our team has all the options to, you know, if they want and choose to do that, to go get the vaccine. And It's been cool.
We're fortunate to be in this spot for that. I mean, people are still. I mean, dude, I had to like go on like several websites, and it was just like a, instant shoe drop. Like it just disappears. So I'm fortunate to be in this spot to like actually get the vaccine tomorrow. So yeah.
Yeah, my experience has. I almost feel that my experience is unique because everything that I did so far with the vaccine was completely seamless. Like, I made an appointment. I was able to get one for like 2 days ahead of time. I was in and out of the entire process within 30 minutes. It was like, I like shared my experience and everyone was like, that wasn't what I had. Like, blah, blah, blah. So, and even I have a friend who their entire family was like trying to get grandma a vaccine, and like they were all trying different websites, and it was a much more difficult process in certain areas of the Western Shore than it was here.
Yeah,
so
like especially like bigger counties, they just like have more population, and then vaccines runs out faster. So that was the trouble. But thank God my family's already got the vaccine, so they figured out a way. So I'm happy to be here too.
That's awesome, and the big thing for me is the vaccine symbolizes for me some hope of returning back to normalcy and getting back to, because I believe that people as a whole are eager to be interactive again with other folks, and we built this entire campus model on a gathering place of like-minded people, but can't gather right now. Yeah. So, it's just kind of touch and go, and I don't know. I'm hopeful that by winter time we start seeing some return to normalcy, and it's crazy that I can be so patient. I remember in March of last year being like, another 30 days of this and I'm going to lose my mind, and here we are like a year later, and it's like, well, I guess you can deal with this. And
right. I mean, look where you got. I mean, you opened up a new store, new campus,
new brand, new campus,
brand new campus.
And I also feel really blessed in the fact that I know that not everyone had great 2020, and we had a banner year here, and that's I wrote about it in the blog. But for me, it's a testament to our team,
right?
And this commitment to the mission of our patients. And with everything, we were just a few weeks off of our build out, and we delivered on so many of our goals in 2020 that it's just like, I can't believe there really was a pandemic and we hit our goals. It just it seems like I'm just so thankful for the folks that I have on.
And you guys helped a lot of patients that were dealing with the pandemic too, not just I mean, you guys are a pillar of this community. So just to be here, I mean, going from holistics to and holistic plus wellness, that must mean a lot to you too.
It does. And when we started sensing the temperature of people getting stressed out and the anxieties were high, I went to Brandon and I think this will be a meeting that I'll remember in my head for a long time, but we couldn't meet inside. So we met downtown the city park. We sat at a picnic table, and I was like, I want to completely change how we message our patients right now and our followers. I don't want to have anything. Obviously, I want to move for the next few months on free tools that patients can use. I don't want to sell anything. Teach breathing exercises, teach meditation, teach wellness tools that people need and could use right now, but aren't salesy and aren't in a way that like we're benefiting it from, but just let's put this good out there. And they really took those reins and they ran with it. Until this day, we're still putting out a lot of that same content, and I feel good about that. And the feedback that I've gotten from folks, I was like, wow, we saw you put 10 tips on breathing exercises, and I didn't realize that, how well breathing could de-escalate my emotions when I'm feeling super tense. And I struggled with all these things that are, having depression and anxiety myself has made me really cognizant of how debilitating that can be on a day-to-day basis if it's not managed. And then seeing something like a pandemic escalate all these emotions, and then to be linked to part of the cure, but part of the helping these people through that it meant a lot to me, and it's a badge of honor that I wear, knowing that not only did we just successful in our business, but when our community needed us, we weren't just capitalistic focused. Like, we made sure that we served our patient base and we served our community, and because of that, we were rewarded.
100%. And you guys are still doing that to this point. I mean, it was like a couple of days ago when we got the first case in the United States. So, I mean, I thought it was going to be over, but like, all right, it'll be done by July. We could have a normal Christmas, Thanksgiving. Nah, it's still here.
No, we are. You seen the Tom Brady meme of COVID?
Yep.
It's like one of the best ones. It's like
still here.
Looks different.
Oh, bad.
But and it's the cannabis space in particular. Being essential employees and having to serve that role. It really was just a lot. It really was a lot. And I think when this all settles down in a couple of years, it'll be really interesting to think about, like, anytime I hear the word pivot, I think of Friends.
Yeah.
Do you think of that too?
Yeah.
But you think about all the pivoting that had to be done and all the changes and literally how much life changed for everyone. I mean, wearing gloves to walk into a grocery store and like all these masks all the time and like all these. I remember, and I'm not this careful, but I remember my friends like squirting down every single product they got from the grocery store before they let it in their house. And like, that's like a huge change to your day-to-day life. And it'll be interesting to see what things, like, you think people blow out birthday cakes anymore?
Yeah, that's the most, like, disgusting thing to think about it. Because, like, everybody get the cake now. So, I mean, even, like, passing joints on a rotation, I'm like,
Percy's for everybody.
Yeah, like, that. I mean, we're in a medical market. Or your medicine is your medicine now. But
sure.
Like,
But if you had traveled to an adult use market and maybe with friends where passing a joint is legal, you still might not want to.
Right. I'm like, nah, you know what? I got my own. I'm good. like it just kind of like changed the whole perspective of the way you guys, way somebody thinks. Just, it's not going to go away anywhere now.
And I'm interested to see how things further out. And I'm also not sure that the long-term impact of COVID isn't a huge catalyst push towards adult use legalization of cannabis. You saw them deeming us essential. That's a huge.
I think that's one of the reasons why we got the vaccines too. I mean, we're essential healthcare workers. So
I'm not sure people always understand how nuanced things are. Like, the question we probably get more than anything is, when's adult use coming, right? Everyone wants to know, what's your opinion? You work in the industry, and I look for some of the smaller tides that I see, like cannabis being deemed essential and not making us close down. I look at the fact that in a coronavirus package at a federal level, there was a safe banking bill that was buried in there that a lot of people didn't see. And those all give me a lot of hope that the tide is changing. But I'm still pretty conservative in my expectations of, I don't think that this is the year that you see any major progress happening. And even if it does happen in the following year, it will be another year after that before we see implementation. So
you got a long way. I mean, it's still, like you said, it's a rising tide. But like, I think Illinois kind of did it right, where they expunge all the criminal records. I think that's one step that we have to do here in Maryland. And then I would feel right about going into adult use. Just I don't see the point in having adult use and people in jail for like doing the same stuff that we're selling.
And it's not just like the jail is the most extreme of circumstances.
Yeah.
Let's go back to more reasonable circumstances. It's people getting denied jobs.
Yeah.
Right? People not getting housing, people not having access to opportunities because when they got pulled over for speeding in 72 and a 55, they happened to have a jar of weed on them, which caught them a charge. I mean, I've had so many friends that had incidental drug charges for dumb shit. I have a friend that got a possession and paraphernalia charge for having an empty dugout in his car that he'd lost a year and a half before, but the cop found it, right? Like, literally didn't, like, he had dropped it years ago and just thought it was gone.
Yeah.
And it was stuck underneath a bolt in the chair, but Johnny Law found it, and and to know that like that's something he has to answer for the rest of his life on a job application. Yeah. It's I don't know. The criminal justice piece of cannabis is something that I had to be brought to the table too.
Yeah.
I got it. I understood there was a disparity in how the law was leveled, but I didn't fully understand the impact of the repercussions. And even when I think about like the realistic, and I'm just trying to be transparent here, but in my mind, a realistic is if you're 14 and let's say you don't come from a strong family background where mom and dad aren't supportive and maybe grandma is raising you and maybe she's not super inclined to what you're doing in the day to day, and then you go get that first charge and now you're 14 and you have to go to court for the first time.
Yeah.
And maybe there's no one to support you, and you get a public defender who's maybe not overly concerned of your interests as he would if you were paying them, and you get community service and it stays on your record. Let's go to a 14-year-old kid who lives in an affluent neighborhood, whose dad's friends with the judge, and has an attorney on retainer. And that 14-year-old goes up there, and he's already taken 2 weeks of drug classes, because that's what his attorney told him to do. He's already got letters of intent and all this stuff, and the judge just says, oh, stat doc that.
Cleared.
Same charge, same violation, just two completely different outcomes, and quite honestly not dictated by the 14-year-olds.
Right.
Their external circumstances dictate that kind of flow. And I'm using extreme narratives here, but that happens in my mind way more often than not. And I was privy to both sides of that. The kind of like interesting thing about myself is that I didn't grow up in a super high socioeconomic position at all. We were lower middle class, but we were we weren't poor.
Yeah.
Because of lacrosse, I had so many affluent friends.
Right. Yeah.
And I got to see like these cats live differently than I do.
Black
like
bros.
Their refrigerators look different, their cabinets look different, their parents are treating them different. Like it was just it opened my eyes that like there's a different world outside of the struggle.
Yeah.
Like not everyone has the same struggles and same lifestyle that I do. And
but I think that kind of made you who you are now. Kind of like seeing that. I mean, I could kind of vouch for that. I mean, my family, when we moved from Sri Lanka to here, we had to start over. Like, I remember my dad telling me he had like $200 in the bank account when he came here, and like, you know, he still figured out a way to put food on our table till I moved out for college. Like, you know, I kind of looked into that, and I also have friends that you're talking about, and you know,
you go from Montgomery County, right?
Yeah.
So Montgomery County is a very socioeconomically diverse place. You have people that are on the struggle bus, and you have people that are killing it.
Yeah, like the houses, the cars. I'm like, wow, you're in a nice house. Like, it's possible. So like now I'm like, you know, I see that vision. It's there. I just have to make my path to go get it. So I mean,
and you will.
Yeah,
I know it.
I just don't know when I'm gonna do it, but I know I will. My future is up to me, but nothing was ever handed to me. I always had to go get it. Once I got it, I knew what to do with it to excel at it. So like I think I'm still doing it, but you know, at the end of the day, I want, you know, ownership. Like I want to, you know, get that diverse ownership, you know, put one more in there. I want to throw my hat. I want to throw my name in that hat, but like my ultimate goal in life right now, I have a kid, Atlas. I want to, you know, build generational wealth, you know, just take care of my family.
That's something I think about a lot, is that generational wealth piece for me. I mean, this is, if I do really well, we'll get to a point where my daughters and their kids will really be reaping the rewards of, you know, some of the kids that I knew that were affluent, you know, it was their grandfather that made the cash, right? Like that's my best case scenario, is that I'm that grandfather, right? I didn't have that grandfather. I didn't, you know, my parents didn't come from that, but I have that opportunity if I do what I want to do to, you know, to be in that role and have the grandkids. And it's something personal for me, is my dad never got to see my kids. He passed away before I had kids. And not only did he not get a chance to be part of their life or to kind of like set them up or, you know, financially or any of that, but like didn't even have that interaction. So like for me, honestly, like being when the fucking time is right, in case my daughters are listening to this shit, but when the time is right, I look forward to being a grandfather, and my role and how I envision that is the Daddy Warbucks grandfather. Like I want to be the grandfather that's got cash, so that I could provide for my daughters and their kids and their even their future families. And I think the opportunity to be the kind of the first generation of that, like you know,
because it wasn't handed to you.
No,
you went and got it yourself. So that's
and one thing, you know, your work ethic is phenomenal, and I'm not just saying I'm not, you know, I mean, but I appreciate and not just your work ethic because there's a lot of people that work hard, but your mindset is dialed in. And one thing that I struggle with, and this is a little off topic, but I appreciate you and I want you to get your feedback in this, is so you kind of grew up struggling a little bit, and you watched your dad come here with no money and have to make everything that he did, and now here you are with Atlas. So one of the things that I think about is so much of my DNA and what makes me quite honestly successful was the struggle. My kids ideally won't have that struggle. So how do you supplement and make sure they still get that work ethic and they understand that hustle struggle instinct without giving them the pain and adversity of the struggle?
That's a really good point, to be honest.
You think about that already?
Yeah, I mean, I like me and my wife talk about it all the time. It's just like, you know, I don't want to be that person. Like, I have the things, I don't want to give it to him just to make him earn it. But it's like I think there's that proper balance in that. You know, it's like maybe not give you everything that you want, but I'll still give you the things that you need. Maybe not the wants. You know, I don't know. It's just like
I think I'm at. You don't have to have it as hard as I do, and it's not because some parents they set out to make their kids' lives as hard as theirs are because they feel like, and that's you know. I'm not feeling you out of parent, but come on, bro. You know, there's no reason that the girls need to have a difficult life, but at the same time, I don't think it behooves anyone to just be fed a silver spoon and given everything. You gotta build that work ethic and gotta know what it's like to achieve something that you worked hard for. Like it doesn't have to be negative. Like when you work really hard for something and you actually get that award, whether it be your first time winning a youth sports game or your first time like competing against others and then getting that victory, like winning is something that's important to me.
Right.
Like I'm competitive. I have a tattoo that says to win on my back. It's in me and on me. Like I've always wanted to compete. And when you're given an opportunity like this where I'm at right now and I get to compete and against companies, quite honestly, like GTI, when I look at, the top run dispensaries, there's these big multi-state operators that run really top performing and high performing dispensaries. And here's little Darby on Salisbury, and my numbers are competing with them and my patient base is competing with them. And we have this amazing product that it's a little bit of validity to what we believe in and what we do here. And I think that competition is something that I try to instill in my girls, and not that you need to compare yourself to everyone in the world or that you need to try to be something that you're not, but it's healthy competition is good. And you should be looking at your peers and holding yourself to at least a higher standard than the peers that you don't think are doing what they need to do.
Right. I mean, I think one thing like that taught me competition, and I guess like the one thing that where I get my work ethic is from being competitive in sports and being competitive in academics. Like I think that I guess my drive to be the best that I can be, or be the best that I was better than yesterday, or something like that, I think that is instilled in me forever. So like I feel like that is, I mean, Atlas is part of me. So I feel like he's gonna naturally pick that up, but if not, I'll put him in the right path to like figure it out himself.
Were you like I have to have 100% kind of guy?
Yeah. Like, I mean, when I was in college, like, I remember my math class, I did horrible. Like, I did, like, my first course I got, it was, like, 33. And I was like, oh, that's not a 50. That's cool. and then the next person next to me was, like, 77. I was like, oh,
snap.
Okay. So, like, then I knew that I had to make a major comeback in order to, like, get that A that I wanted. So, like, dude, I kid you not, every office hour, I was there knocking. I was like, so, what do you think about this problem? Like, I was constantly bothering him to a point, like, I knew the bonus, like, the questions that was going to be on the quiz. So, like, I got 100% on the exam and the bonus questions. So I would get, like, 120 out of 100. So, like, I did that multiple times in order to kind of, like, make up for my poor performance. Because, like, dude, I thought I had it. I didn't take it serious. But, like, I think when I knew that, I was like, that's not who I want to be. Like, I always wanted to be the best of best. So, like, think, never give up, pretty much.
And I'm not like that.
Yeah.
And I can say this honestly, like, I've never shot for 100%.
Yeah.
Like, if I wanted an A, I looked at it, then I have a window between 90 and 100.
Yeah.
And a 96 is an A, and a 94 is an A, and a 92 an A, is a 90 is an A.
Yeah.
As long as it's not an 89,
Right.
I'm okay.
Right.
And that kind of progress over perfection mindset is something that's, it can be dangerous.
Yeah.
Because sometimes there are things that 100% is required.
Yeah.
An inspection.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, bro, I'm at 90%, dude. What do you mean? MMCC required all 100% of this thing.
No, right?
So, and that's why I have a team. The folks like the Chucks of the world and things like that. Those guys are going to sweat every little tiny detail and all of that. I'm very much like a 90. Even Brandon, like I told him when we were last year when we were building all this, we weren't hitting 100%.
Right.
Like for every 6 projects, there would be 5 successful ones and 1 failure.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, we're still at that 80%. Like right now, I don't think that we can run as fast as we need to run and get 100%. Yeah. You're gonna have to be okay with dropping some balls. You're gonna have to be okay with sending some sorry emails. You're gonna have to be okay with making some mistakes here, because for us to get to this finish line where I want to be at, that's just like that's the rules of the game.
Yeah.
And he bought into that, and here we are. And like when we opened up our wellness store, maybe an 80%. It was close,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
But here we are, and like if you look at the wellness store now compared to when we opened it 4 months ago, it's like that. Not it's so much farther.
Right.
But if I would have tried to get that store to the maturity level that I needed it to and open 4 months ago, it wouldn't have happened. You just had to be okay with. I know this isn't 100%,
but
and you can look around. There's definitely areas of need, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Like we'll get there.
Actually, now that you say that, my boss Jeff, he kind of directs me on that because he knows what I want to do. I always want 100%. Like I always want to be that number one, the vendor of all the dispensaries that I serve with. And like, sometimes I'm not that person. And it's like, hey, Manny, like, it's okay. Like, let's make a plan to get there. Like, it's okay if you don't get there now, but as long as your vision is there, let's make a plan for it to achieve that. So I think going back to that, it's okay to not be 100% all the time, but as long as, let's make a plan.
There's a plan, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of that too. A lot of I've probably used the word stage 2 more in my life than the last 3 years and everything. Like, that's got to be stage 2. Like, let's get here first in the foundation. And a lot of, I saw a lot of cannabis companies come to market and they tried to be everything to everyone their first day, and they didn't have a clear identity, and they spent so much money, dispensaries included. And there's companies that had a plan and said, okay, we're going to get here, and once we're here, then we'll go to here, and then once we go to here, we'll go to there. Yeah. And they were forecasting, and they were thinking about it so that as soon as they hit their goal, their next goal was already dialed in, they're ready to go. But they prioritize their goals and space them out as opposed to saying, all these goals have to happen today at one time, and it just becomes a diluted product, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So let's talk a little bit about GTI specifically in Maryland. So out of the dispensaries, how many dispensaries are you guys in now?
I would say pretty much all of it. I mean, except for probably like 1 or 2. But I mean,
sorry for those guys. Probably there's a reason to story. We won't go into that now, but I can think of at least one.
We definitely have a big footprint in the market for sure, 100%.
All right, if someone's listening to this and they're not familiar because you guys have so many brands, run down with some of the brands that are in the GTI house.
So near and dear to my heart. Rhythm is
Liquid flower vape carts are the thing that people think of most with them. Gentleman's Toker 2018 vape cart of the year.
Full spectrum. Put the full spectrum in there too.
Have who's won the last couple years from Gentleman's Toker? Do you know?
I'm not sure.
As soon as Rhythm won, we're like, no more. Who cares about that survey again? They really are. And not to shout at your competitor, but the only 2 cartridges that I personally buy out of Maryland's program, in case somebody cares, are Rhythm and Curio. They're both super.
You've been saying that since day one.
Since day one, because they both are high quality, terpene protected cartridges that are phenomenal. Like if you've had a cheap cart and then you get to experience a Rhythm cartridge, it is like night and day. And I'm not as bullish on the vape cartridges as I was when they first came out. I think if I had to be critical of vapes, the thing that I would say is that if you are someone that's a heavy user and you don't pay attention, they'll kill your tolerance.
Yeah.
We all went through, everyone that got
Yep.
into the Rhythm vape carts, when they came out with the 1 Grammys, we were like, oh, snap, that went really fast. And how did I just go through XYZ and however long it took you?
Let's take a break.
Yeah.
Come back.
Yeah. And, but I'm getting ready to go on a business trip tonight, and I have a 3-hour drive ahead of me, and I'll go somewhere and probably spend the night. And to be able to take, I've already picked it out, I'm taking a lemon meringue Rhythm disposable.
Okay.
Very low profile, very easy to travel with, and will allow me to medicate when I need to medicate and do what I need to do. So they have there's still a really great value proposition for them, but that was just my view on it. So we got Rhythm.
And then under Rhythm, I mean, I guess like
Flower as well now, right?
Yeah, so I guess when we last talked, it was like just vapes, but like last year, right before COVID, we did drop Flower into the market. I mean,
Black Afghan,
Alien, Cookie Face, and then you guys just got some of the new strains like Triple Chocolate Chip, and then I think Candy Margie just hit. So and we just dropped like the Black Afghan this recently, dude. 5.71% terps, dude.
Say it out loud for those in the back.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Is that
That's
the highest terps you've seen in the market?
In my life.
Okay.
I swear, yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, in a flower product, I remember getting excited when we got over 2% terpenes. Like, thinking that, like, wow, our Maryland market is really sophisticated that we're getting flower with 2% terps. And then Black Afghan drops at 30.
It was like 31% with like 5.71 terps, dude. It was like almost 3% Mercy, dude.
This is as good as it gets, and you guys know me that I'm a terpene snob. I'm not a THC snob. I think people that just chase THC are. I
mean, hence that this is why we talked about the terps first. And I was like, oh yeah, it's also at like 30% THC. Like, that's just.
Because that's still an amazing stat. It's almost your qualifier, and then like what makes you awesome is the fact that you have 5%. Like anyone can get, not anyone, but anyone can get 30% THC. But what's your terp profile accompanying that? And what can that plant hold? At one point, I was told that you can't have terp profile over 1.5% with THC at 30% because there's only so much space in the plant.
Right. Yeah.
Well. These guys found some extra room for terpenes in the bud.
Yeah, shout out to the cultivation team. Like they deploy like techniques to like, you know, take care of the most important part of the plant, which is the trichomes. I mean, you could see from your jar level, like the trichomes is still there, like shining, just crystalline. And dude, I mean, big shout out to the cultivation team and the lab team for keep pulling out like amazing products.
Yeah, the Rhythm flower is really top notch. You know, it's definitely one of the premier brands we have in. So Rhythm was known for cartridges. Now we got flower.
Then we could do the dog walkers, same along the Rhythm premium.
Dog walkers
flower,
are pre-rolls. The pre-rolls that GTI gives us, they come in really cool tins still.
And the glass tubes. Like the pre-roll, the big dogs come in a glass tube, and then the 5-pack comes in a tin. But I mean, we give donations.
It's still good to donate to
Maryland Pet and Egg Rescue. So I think that's a huge part of it.
Yeah, the dog walkers themselves there's the big dog and a little dog. So little dogs are 0.3,
0.35, and then the big dogs are 0.75. So we call it the big dogs are for the longer walks, and the mini dogs are for the shorter strolls. So I mean, dude, If you had the chance to get a mini dog, you'll see like, you know, because we use the actual nugs, not trim or shake. That 0.35 is just the right size. So sometimes people say that, man, that's like I had to turn it off a little bit.
Yeah.
Like compared to a 0.5 out in the market, a 0.35 just as much, like, you know, produce the same.
My joke for the 1 gram joints is unless you're on a construction crew of 4 guys, there's no reason why you need a 1 gram joint.
Yeah, for real. I mean, it's just, because then you're getting 0.25 each. So.
Yeah, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
Other than that, I'm like, who needs like a 1 gram? Like, come on.
Yeah. But it's funny because like now we're just like, you know, I guess like for gifts wise, like you would gift like an alcohol bottle or something. We want to be like the brand, the dog walk is like, okay, here's a big dog for a celebration or something. You know, come pick that up for celebrate. So, I mean, it's good to have these brands. I mean, we're always about high quality, and we have people behind these brands that, you know, that also believes in it. That makes it why the product is quality, because we have people that believe in it.
You got Dr. Solomon's.
Dr. Solomon is also a Maryland brand. I mean, we talked about how Maryland is the R&D for the whole nation. So, like, we make brands here that get featured in the other states.
How did that happen?
So, pretty much they take the formulation that we make here, not the actual brand. But
why, but from a strategic standpoint, GTI is headquartered out of Chicago, correct?
Correct, yeah.
Did they choose Maryland for R&D because you guys have more space and it's like better facilities, or just like, I guess
we just have a badass lab. To be honest, yeah.
Yeah.
Our director Andrea, she's amazing. She's super smart, and she, I mean, we're the one of the reasons why we created that liquid flower formulation here. Then we took that out to the other states as well. So Rhythm kind of changed up the formulations as well.
Interesting.
And then, you know, we introduced Incredibles down to the market. The Snoozeberry was made here, and we seen the packaging before we even like brought it to the market, because that actually won the High Times Cannabis Cup in in Illinois last year for the second place for the best infused gummy.
That's awesome.
So we seen that happen here. It's amazing to see, like, you know, these products in other states. Even the Dr. Solomon is in other states, and it's going through a rebrand right now. So, like, seeing that happen is amazing. But
that is really neat. I'm so proud of Maryland's market.
Yeah.
Like, every state is so much different. And, like, you look at Delaware, and you look at Florida, and you look at all these places on the East Coast that just have shit programs, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
And then here Maryland comes to market, and you got companies like Curio that are doing head-to-head sleep trials against Lunesta and Ambien. You got companies like you guys that are bringing all these awesome products to market. If you are at GTI and you are listening, I am a little curious on why my friends in Pennsylvania are posting sugars and butters of beautiful concentrate products and this really sophisticated Rhythm packaging, and I'm sitting in here just twiddling my thumbs in Maryland waiting. I'm looking at you, Ben Clover. Did I pronounce that right?
Yeah, you've been asking me.
If I'm going to mother episode CEO of GTI on my podcast, I should at least get his name right.
It's like calling was like, hey, Darby, like, she's going to send you a LinkedIn email. It's like, here's why we don't have it yet, but we are going to get it in here.
I hope so. And I hope when you come to Maryland, I'm your first one.
Dude, trust me,
Let me into the R&D, guys. I'm here for you.
Well, speaking of R&D, we did have that grow project. So, like, we kind of, you know, send those, like, trial products out for you guys to test out the high Delta 8.
Delta 8 product was really unique.
Yep.
We're starting to carry some Delta 8 products downstairs on the wellness side now.
Nice, yeah.
Delta 8, for those guys that are unfamiliar, is a derivative of THC. At this point, it is legal. I have a theory that a cop is going to buy a Delta 8 vape cart at a gas station and then fail his drug test. And there's going to be legislation that makes Delta 8 part of the Maryland cannabis program and not on the street, which is probably why you guys are making investments in it. Maybe you guys have some thoughts that it may not stay in the same legal space that it is for forever.
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak into that perspective as of yet, but I feel like we just, like, from the Grow Project standpoint, we want to, like, expose patients to more cannabinoids other than THC and CBD. I mean, we also have high CBG in there as well. So, like, it's just, like, getting people accustomed to, like, more cannabinoids and the feelings that's associated with the cannabinoids as well. So
our Peninsula Holistics brand is bringing out a CBG tincture, a CBN tincture.
Nice.
With the same point of there's these other cannabinoids that are highly functional cannabinoids that are just less less commercially available in the marketplace. And at the point now that everyone's got CBD and THC, like, we're going to take the step further and start coming out soon because, you know, CBG, for some reason you've never heard me talk before, is great for gut health, and CBN is really good for sleep. Do the Incredibles, they have
We have Snoozeberry.
Bro, so you guys dropped off your welcome kits for the Incredibles.
Yeah.
And honestly, I was doing like 10 things at once. And I opened up and I saw 100 milligrams of THC and 20 milligrams of CBN. And I was like, oh my God, they're going to kill people with this tablet. Like, we're like, what are we doing? And I sent Mary Pat a message like, send a staff training on how to actually use this. Like, only the most senior of cannabis users should get this. And Cody responds back, bro, it's broken into 20
pieces. Yeah, it's 20
sorry, 10. It was 2 grams of CBN and 10 grams of THC. And I was like, oh, thank God.
Oh, my God.
I was like, put people down for a month.
Oh man, we're trying to rock people to sleep, not knock people to sleep. All right. So.
Well, that's one way of doing it, man. I mean, it's like going duck hunt with a grenade. I got him. You and everything around it.
Yeah, nah. But like that, I think when it comes to Incredibles, we definitely want to like kind of focus on how the cannabinoids affect people's like, associated with people's sleep or energy versus terpenes. I think that's one of the huge things about Incredibles being the Incredibles brand. It's like educate them on the cannabinoids versus the terpenes. So
I like the Incredibles website and I like their explanation because I've always been really hesitant and skeptical of how terpenes affect the body when they are consumed.
Right.
Through an edible.
Yeah.
Right? And if you believe what the Incredible stance is that it doesn't. They believe that the terpenes in edible products are way less as important into the quality and the dosing of the THC and CBD and the cannabinoids within those products, right? That's kind of their theory.
Yeah, it's like we don't believe in like pretty much like once terpenes are,
if you eat limonene, it may not have the same effect as if you hit limonene in a vape pen, and I believe
because it's like you're metabolizing.
It differently.
Yeah, exactly.
When you eat, those chemicals are being converted into secondary chemicals, and it's a completely different process than inhalation. So it's something that I wholeheartedly believe in more and more, and been thinking about that as it plays into basically into those edible products. Is that the terpenes and stuff like that are really smoke and mirrors. It's not.
Yeah.
Really effective.
I mean, going back to rhythm real quick, like we have the terp sap, and like I believe in the terpenes, like the effect if I do it sublingually versus ingesting it. Like if I'm doing it sublingually, I feel like I do feel the limonene versus the linalool.
I'll second that. In your terp sap, and that's pretty much the only way I take terp sap is under my tongue.
Yeah.
And I agree. And the other. I'll always put you and Curio in the same boat. I'm not parlaying my bet, I promise. But
they're awakening tabs. 2 walls, so I get it.
Yeah, they're awakening tabs.
Yeah.
Same thing. It's one of the few things that I've consumed cannabis-wise that actually gave me energy. Other than that, I get a sedative effect kind of no matter what it says on there.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge edible guy except for like at night or to sleep because I need my energy. I'm not typically trying to relax on the couch. It's not like what I do a lot of my time on.
I mean, that's the basic stereotypical about stoners, right? Like, you just get high and just sit on the couch. I mean, I don't know. We still trying to break that stigma, man.
Bro,
like,
we're doing it.
For me, like, I'm very focused. Like, I could not have gone through college without cannabis. Like, you see me, like, I would medicate at that time. I would say I get high. But now I know the term. It's like I was medicating at that time. Then I would go to the library and, dude, I would knock off like essays and just like write down my thoughts. And they were all elegant. And like it would give me an A. Yeah. And I'm like, dude, let's keep doing this. And I got my roommate onto it. So it's just like, I believe in that, cannabis is a true medicine. And like it helps me focus. And I know it helps a lot of other people, you know.
It's a huge focus tool for me. And I can't imagine getting through college and writing 30-page papers without cannabis.
Yeah.
And even to this day, my application process, all these things that we've gotten, like, it's never been like, well, I'm just going to quit smoking weed, quit using cannabis so that I can achieve this goal. And then once I achieve the goal, then I'll be able to use cannabis again. It's like, no, cannabis has helped me achieve every goal that I have. I've never, it's so funny that people sort of like, You smoke weed every day? Yeah.
Yeah.
Multiple times.
Yeah.
I'm not like. Do you expect me just to be like every time I consume cannabis to be like, hey man?
Right.
Like, no, like that's not how.
I
this
mean,
works.
at this point, I don't always smoke. I have different consumption methods
Sure.
now. Like, I mean, but I am intaking the cannabinoids, if that's what you're asking. Like.
Yeah. I still find, this is a silly thing, but I still find some relief from hearing the bubbles of like
Yeah.
a bong or a rig. Like
Yeah.
that, like the water bubbling just gives me like a peace.
Yeah,
It's like,
peace of
okay, your
mind.
medicine's coming. Like,
Yeah.
here it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. 100%.
Wrapping this up, is there anything else that you wanted to make sure we get out there this time? We're going to have you back on again soon.
Yeah. No, man, I just want to say thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to go out and engage the patients and, be a part of your podcast again.
Thanks, bro. I appreciate everything you
For
do.
sure.
Manny with GTI. See you soon.
Awesome.